Hello, everybody. It's day four of practice. And so every day, my goal is to live stream. Whether anybody's watching or not, that's for me. So I was thinking about it this morning, and the thoughts that came to me as far as what was I going to live stream today. Didn't spend too much time thinking about it, but let me just make sure that I'm not covering up the mic this time. So first of all, let me back up because I'm sure people will be watching this on the replay. My name is Crystal Willingham, and I am a whole life wellness consultant and Reiki practitioner. And so what that means is it's my jam to share what I learn about living your life as well as possible in all aspects of life, mind, body, spirit, relationships, and finances. And the reason why is because that's what I want for myself. And the more I look into it for me, the more my spirit says, share what you know, share what you know. And so that's what I do. I learned Reiki about 3 years ago, and I love, love, love to do it. So that's me. So that's who I am, and that's the person that I am allowing myself to be and to be visible to the world. It's been an interesting journey. I don't know if you guys can hear that, the lawnmower. They're still mowing the lawn. It's October. But anyway, got someone to do that, so they're doing it right now. All right, so anyway, I'm going to invite some folks to join me today. And do that really quick because, it's kind of a cool thing to do here on live streaming, to actually have some people watching and listening and all right. So there we go. I have some invitations. All right. So today the questions that came up were wrote them down. What is the point of practice? What's the point? Why am I doing all these challenges month after month? And what is the one thing that has the most impact on the life that I want to create? So first, I'm just going to take a minute to sort of gather myself and be here completely, fully present with you. There's lots going on here today. My son from another mother is in the next room, talking a little loud. Lawnmowers going on outside. Got some stuff to do upstairs. So I'm just going to take a second to just really get focused and connected with you. And you can do this with me. I'm just bringing in more love, more connection. We are all one, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. That's the truth. And there's so much love in that idea. It feels really good. Okay, so what's the point of practice? The reason why I practice. Well, if you listen to any of the previous live streams or read the posts on my blog, you'll know I was just like everybody else, and I am just like everybody else. And, reading a lot of self help stuff, reading a lot of spiritual and sort of success principles and, different things. And I think, sort of sometimes they kind of, intertwine. And, but the things that I was learning, although I really found value and felt like, these are really great ideas, great concepts, they are true, they make a lot of sense, and I'm sure they work. But I wasn't having a daily experience of these things working. Um, Occasionally, I would have those moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, this, I can directly correlate what my understanding is of this success principle to what I'm experiencing, but it wasn't all the time and it wasn't consistent and it certainly wasn't deliberate. And so one day I just decided that I was going to focus every day on one small change. And that was just changing my thinking process, changing my, taking deliberate control over my thoughts and saying, this negative thought isn't what I want to think about. I want to think about this. I want to feel this way. I'm going to affirm this in my life. And just started doing that on a daily basis. And within 5 days, had so many wonderful changes that happened. And so I did that every day for about a month, and then I stopped. Kind of went back into the old patterns and, found myself back in that place of real struggle and, maybe a little depression even, and just like not quite knowing what to do. So I said, I'm going to do this again. And I did. So every time I have dedicated myself to the focus of whatever that happens to be for that month, as I write and I journal and I keep track of, my experiences, I can look back on that and see that, yes, indeed, focusing on the things that I'm trying to create, not trying, things that I want to create, things that are aligned with who I am, the truth of myself. The more that I focus on that, the more I experience it. And that's just it. And that's the simple truth. It's not anything deeper than that. So the practice is just, the consistent commitment to your goals and doing them all the time. Now, some people don't have a problem with that. Some people can say, I'm going to do this thing, and then they do it, and it's beautiful. But what I notice in my circles and among my friends and among my peers, my sisters, is that, there's this ongoing year in and year out struggle with the things that we don't prefer. And if we knew that the simple act of focusing on the preferred experiences is all that it takes to make those changes happen, we would do it. We would do it in a heartbeat. Well, we know it intellectually, but we don't practice it, so we don't have that visceral knowing. We don't feel it in our body. We don't have that deep understanding that this is what I need to do. And so we don't do it. And I think that is, sort of what's compelling me to continue to do these challenges and to share my experiences, because I have changed. I know viscerally what I know to be true. I know deep in my soul, in my spirit, in my body, that my thoughts are creative and that my energy is what is bringing forth the experiences that I'm having. I have real, solid evidence in my own life that this is true. And how I came to this understanding and realization is through daily practice. Daily affirmations, internal looking, and putting into action the ideas. Hey, Louise. So that's, the point of all of this is that the daily practice requires commitment. And for me, in order to be committed, I need to challenge myself. I need to challenge not only myself, but to have some accountability. So I put it out there, put it out on Facebook. And I said, if I'm doing this with other people, then there's the accountability factor. Trust me, if it wasn't for my commitment to you, or my statement that I'm going to commit to doing these live streams every day, I probably wouldn't be doing it. So, having that piece, that added piece of saying, here's what I'm going to do, here's some accountability, and I'm making a commitment to myself and to the group. That for me is what the point of doing this is. Now, people out there in social media and on Facebook and stuff are doing challenges as a way to build up their business. And, by all means, if that's your business model and it's working for you, I love that. It's like, do what works for you. But for me, this isn't really about creating a business model per se. I mean, if it comes as a result of it, it does. That'd be icing. But for me, there's a reason to do it for 30 days, and that is because I know that I get the most benefit of focus on something for 30 days, and I know that you'll get the benefit of it if you focus on it for 30 days. People say, well, people aren't going to do a 30-day challenge. They'll do a 5-day challenge or a 7-day or maybe even a 21-day, but not 30 days. Well, okay, that's fine, whatever, but to me, what's the point if you're not going to get anything out of it? Changes happen with consistency over time. And so the 30 days, I read an article, and I've actually posted it here in the group, and I'll probably post it again. Maybe I'll post it again today. But this article was on a study that was done with astronauts. And in order to prepare them for the rigors and the stresses of being in zero gravity and having, their equilibrium off completely all the time, they had to, for 30 days, they had to wear these glasses that turned their vision upside down and navigate through the day with their vision upside down. And of course, at the beginning, it made them feel sick, and they just, it was really difficult. But there was a sweet spot in there between day like 26 and day 30 when their mind course corrected the vision and turned the vision the right way back up. So in their perception, even though the reality and the truth was that these goggles were making them see everything upside down, their mind said, no, this is correct, and we're going to flip it back over. So without taking the glasses off, their mind corrected that and turned it back over. So our minds are very powerful. And so all we have to do is just be consistent in our thinking for a set period of time. And then 30 days seems to be, sort of the sweet spot for that. So, I don't know what's going on out there. I am following my guidance, and I'm not really paying that much attention to what other people are doing because honestly, it's too confusing for me as a person with an open head center. All that information coming in from other people, it just clouds up my own clarity. So I've been guided to stop looking at what other people are doing. But if you're looking around out there and you're seeing all these challenges and stuff like that, just know that, it's a technique people are using to get people into sales funnels. It's not why I'm doing it. But like I said, if my information is beneficial and it leads people to want to work with me, that's law of attraction, and I'm all for that. So that's, kind of my little thing about that. So the last question that I had that I asked today was, what's the one thing that's going to have the most impact? And I got that question from a book that Angel gave me, and the book is called The One Thing. And it's really a business book. It's really about learning how to streamline your business and really focus on the one thing that's going to sort of have the most impact on everything else so that you don't have, yes, Louise, we are all on this journey together. And so the one thing that makes everything else sort of work, right? And so if we can identify like what's that top level thing and really focus on that, then everything else will, sort of filter down and, sort of work the way that it's supposed to. So the analogy that I used for that was I was talking to another friend of mine, and I said, it's like, you have a car that won't run, right? And so you're trying to figure out, and you have no real, knowledge of like, how to fix the car. You know that there's some sort of system in there that makes everything work, and that's not working. So you could go and you say, okay, well, I know how to change the windshield wiper blades, so I'm going to do that and see if that makes the car run. So you go and change the windshield wiper blades, and obviously that's not going to fix the car, right? So you learn, you decide, I'm going to go and do some study, and I'm going to do some research on this and figure out like what's going to make this car run. Then you do your research and your study, and you find out, oh, okay, well, the electrical system is out in the car. So if I fix the electrical system, then maybe, that will solve the entire problem for everything else in the car. So you fix the electrical system, and then suddenly, the car turns over, the windshield wipers are moving, the lights are coming on, the radio works. So, that's kind of like this whole practice process. We're looking at, things that we really want to create. So I'm talking about like the dream version where you have like your problem that you're trying to solve, and then you're thinking about it in terms of, okay, well, I'm not going to focus on the problem, but I'm going to focus on my dream version of my life without that problem. But there's still one thing at the higher level of that issue or that dream version that if you do that, that will bring about the changes that, sort of have a domino effect of bringing about the changes that you're wanting to create. And for me, the one thing is the work that I'm doing, the internal work, and more self-love. More self-love. Really looking at everything in my life and saying, you know what, I love it just the way it is. I love this life just the way it is. There's no reason to change anything because it's perfect the way it is. And when you can really grasp that and understand how perfect and in divine order things are, then you can let go of things that are holding you back and begin to move in the direction of your preferred experiences. Now, I'm not saying that, that you have to lie to yourself or say, like, oh gosh, I love this horrible experience that I'm having. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But there's a gift in that horrible experience if you allow yourself to see it. If you allow yourself to look at it and ask the questions. So this came to me sort of as I was falling asleep last night, and then first thing this morning when I woke up and I wrote it down. And what came to me was that we need to stop, stop pushing, stop trying so hard to make things be different, to make things happen, or to control the people around us or the situations around us. We need to stop, just stop. We need to look at what is in our experience. Like, so what is happening, okay? It's okay to like just acknowledge it and just look at it. Well, what's the sitch? Like, am I unhealthy? Are my relationships unhealthy? Are my finances unhealthy? What is the situation? What is really true about what's happening right now? What is it? And then when ask the question, because the truth is that everything is for us, and we're responsible for all of it. That is the truth, okay? So, and if you don't know how I arrived at that, well, I'm happy to talk with you one-on-one about that, because it's, it's kind of an important piece of all of this, is to understand that. Everything is for you. Everything is happening for you. Every negative, shitty problem is happening for you to show you something. You're responsible for it all, okay? So if that's the case, then the question would be, what is the present moment showing me? What am I supposed to be learning from this crap? So you look at it and you go, this is what it is. Ask the question, and then stop and listen. Listen for your divine inspiration. Listen for divine guidance. It may come to you in a myriad of different ways. It may be in a book that you're reading, it may be on a TV show, it may be in a conversation that you overhear, or it may just come directly to you in your thoughts. The answer to why. And for me, what I discovered is that it's all showing me that I'm going the wrong direction. It's a stop sign when things are not happening or working out, or I'm not feeling, healthy in my body. I'm not healthy in my relationships. I'm not healthy in my finances. It's a stop sign. So there's a different direction that I need to go. And if I listen and pay attention, my body will tell me which way to go. This is never going to be like a mental process of figuring things out. This is going to be like a really, getting into the understanding of the deep ability that your body has to give you that information. So that's what practice is all about. The only reason that I've arrived at this place of clarity for myself is because I've practiced every single day. I listen and I focus on learning, and I allow myself to be in that space of understanding and receiving. And the more I do that, the more clear I become. So I hope that this was clear for you. I know that it probably brought up more questions than anything. But if you do have questions, if you're looking at your specific scenario and you're going, I don't see how that applies to this, then let's talk about it, because I can show you how it applies. And I want, of course, for everyone to experience their dream version, to experience their preferred outcomes, to, be in this life, in this body, in this incarnation, joyously and deliberately, and having happiness, because I think that's what everybody wants, and I think that's what motivates us to do most of the things that we do, even the wrong things, even the things that take us in the wrong direction. We're about wanting to do that because we think it's going to make us feel better. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Louise. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You have to do it in the way that's authentic for you. I mean, there's all these books and there's all these different authors, and they're all kind of saying similar things and just saying them in different ways. But really, what they're telling you is what worked for them. This is what worked for them. It might not work for you that way, but I love what you're saying. Yes, changing the wording. I'm willing to love you, because you have to be there first. The willingness has to be there first, right? What I've discovered in doing all this work is that there is a point in time where the actual practice of the affirmations and saying the I ams and putting everything in present tense, the now, because right now is the only time that we have. This is where the magic is happening in this present moment. This is where changing that thought or changing that feeling is actually having the impact on the next moment. So that's why we do it that way. That's why we say it's an affirmation in the now. Yes. And so when you can affirm that you're willing, and then you can keep doing it day after day, what ends up happening is that your belief actually does catch up with that information, and it does become who you are. It does become sort of anchored into your body viscerally, as I was saying earlier. We don't feel the visceral sensation of this being true until we've practiced it enough to make it true. And we practice making all of the other bullshit true, because that's how we've been, for 40 years or whatever. We've been practicing that, and it's true for us. So by the same token, course, right in the middle of that. So yeah, so practice making the dream version true, and that's all. That's all this is about. Practice making the dream version true. Do it your way. Do what works for you. But just do it. Just do it. So, what do you think about that? Somebody else popped in. I'm not sure who else is watching right now, but I'm just I'm just gonna wrap up here. My phone just rang. I don't know who that was, but and now the doorbell's ringing, so I gotta go. But leave your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this, okay? All right. Blessings.